Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Whatever Happened To? The series where we take a where are they now look at players who found success in the National Hockey League but are no longer permanent fixtures in the league, either due to controversy, poor play, or just rotten luck. In today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at a 12-year veteran of the league, as we ask, whatever happened to Kevin Klein? Having been selected 37th overall in the second round of the 2003 NHL entry draft by the Nashville Predators, Kevin Klein spent the next 3 seasons split between the OHL, the UHL, and the AHL, where he played in 195 total regular season games and scored 91 total points. Klein's continued production and steady presence on the back end as he transitioned from the juniors to the pros would quickly be rewarded, as he would also get the chance to suit up in the National Hockey League for the first time in a 2-game stint during the 05-06 season. Klein went scoreless in that span before being sent back down to the Predators' AHL affiliate, the Milwaukee Admirals, for the AHL playoffs, where he scored 10 points in 21 games, as the Admirals were eliminated in the Calder Cup finals by the Hershey Bears. Spending the majority of the season in the AHL, but being called up for brief stints in the Bigs, seemingly became the norm for Klein over his next few seasons, as he played in 155 AHL games between 2005 and 2008, compared to his 18 games in the NHL during the same span. This time spent rounding out his game in the minors would all be worth it soon though, as this Canadian defenseman was about to earn himself a full-time spot in the best league in the world. Before that though, Klein was in need of a new contract, after his 1-year, $500,000 deal that he had signed following the expiration of his entry-level contract had been fulfilled. So, on July 16, 2008, Nashville signed Klein to a 2-year, $1.3 million contract worth an average annual value of $650,000 a season. That's basically pocket change in the NHL, but don't you worry. Klein would be earning plenty more in the following years. The 08-09 season saw Klein crack the Predators roster out of training camp and spend his first full season in the NHL, as the former second-round pick scored 4 goals and 8 assists for 12 points in 63 games. Though Klein had been a reliable player as part of the Predators' defensive core, Nashville was unable to clinch a playoff berth as the team missed out on the postseason for the first time in 5 years. Whilst he had put up modest numbers in his first proper year in the league, and would continue to put up similar numbers throughout his career, Klein's journey in the NHL was only just getting started. The 09-10 NHL season saw Klein play almost every game in the 82-game schedule and put up similar numbers to his past season in the league, as he potted a single goal and 10 assists for 11 points in 81 games during his sophomore year in the league. This limited production did its part to help Nashville return to the playoffs, where Klein posted 2 points in 6 games, as the Predators were eliminated in the first round by the Chicago Blackhawks. Midway through the final year of his 2-year contract, Klein was looking for a noticeable pay rise moving forwards after establishing himself as a top 6 defenseman for the Predators. So, on January 19, 2010, Nashville signed Klein to a 3-year, $4.05 million contract extension worth an average annual value of $1.35 million a season. Well, at least Klein was now being paid like an NHL roster player should be, right? The 10-11 NHL season saw an uptick in Klein's production compared to his past 2 seasons, as he scored 2 goals and 16 assists for 18 points in 81 games, whilst remaining a steady and reliable member of the Predators' D-Corps. This production would help Nashville return to the postseason once more, where Klein potted 3 points in 12 games, as the Predators were eliminated in the second round by the Vancouver Canucks. The 11-12 NHL season saw Klein's production continue to increase, despite the Canadian defenseman playing less games than his past 2 years in the league, as he notched 4 goals and 17 assists for 21 points in just 66 games. This continued improvement in his production did its part to help Nashville make the playoffs for the 3rd straight season, where Klein scored 4 points in 10 games, as the Predators were bested in the second round once more, this time by the Phoenix Coyotes. Having seen his point production improve once more, and having seen his ice time and importance in the lineup increase during each of the first 2 years of his 3-year contract extension, Klein was ready to take his game to the next level, as he entered the final year of his current deal in order to earn himself a shiny new contract for the following season. Luckily for Klein, his new deal would come earlier than expected, as on September 15th, 2012, just weeks before the season was supposed to begin, the Predators signed Klein to a 5-year, $14.5 million contract extension worth an average annual value of $2.9 million a season. With his job now secure for the next few years, Klein was able to completely focus on his play once more and kick his game up a notch during the prime years of his career. But first, there was a lockout! During the 12-13 lockout, Klein, like many other NHLers at the time, decided to take his talents overseas to Europe until the lockout ended, as he signed with the Herlev Eagles of the Danish League. Klein potted 3 points in 8 games with the team before the NHL season began and Klein returned to the Predators lineup. Upon his return to North America, Klein continued to put up decent numbers for Nashville, as the former second-round pick scored 3 goals and 11 assists for 14 points in 47 games during the lockout-shortened season. Unfortunately though, Nashville missed out on the postseason for the first time in half a decade, as they were unable to clinch a playoff berth. As his 5th full year with the Predators had ended, and as his new contract was about to kick in, Klein was ready and willing to spend the next 5 years with the team that drafted him a decade ago. However, Klein would no longer be in Nashville by next season's end. The 13-14 NHL season saw Klein unable to live up to his new yearly salary, due to his production plummeting through the first half of the year, as the Canadian defenseman only managed a single goal and 2 assists for 3 points in 47 games. Having unexpectedly underperformed, and after showing no signs of changing anytime soon, Nashville saw an opportunity and seized the moment. On January 22nd, 2014, it was announced that Nashville had traded Klein to the New York Rangers, in exchange for an equally struggling but slightly younger defenseman in Michael Del Zotto. Just like that, Klein was moving from the home of rock and roll and was heading eastwards to the bright lights of Broadway. Klein spent the rest of the season with the Rangers and continued to put up similar numbers for the remainder of the year, as he potted a single goal and 5 assists for 6 points in 30 games. Though it wasn't much, this production helped New York make the playoffs, where Klein scored a similarly impressive 4 points in 25 games, as the Rangers made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals before they were bested by the Los Angeles Kings. I still haven't forgiven you yet, Alec Martinez! Having struggled to get his name on the scoresheet, more so than usual, all season, Klein was looking to use his mid-season trade as a chance to have a fresh start in a new organisation with a new coach in a new system. Little did Klein know that this trade would end up working wonders for him, as he would play the best hockey of his career as a member of the Blue Shirts. The 14-15 NHL season saw Klein flourish as a top 4 defenseman for the Rangers and have the best statistical season of his entire NHL career, as he notched 9 goals and 17 assists for 26 points in 65 games. These greatly improved numbers compared to seasons prior helped New York return to the playoffs, where Klein scored 4 points in 14 games, but the Rangers were beaten in the conference finals by the Tampa Bay Lightning. The 15-16 NHL season saw Klein continue to thrive in his increased role with the Rangers, as he put up identical stats on the scoresheet to his past season, since he potted 9 goals and 17 assists for 26 points, but this time in 69 games. These stats would help the Rangers return to the postseason once more, where Klein notched just a single point in 5 games, as New York were eliminated in the first round by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Though he had been playing the best hockey of his career over the last few years, and was making a name for himself in one of the league's biggest markets, Klein's time in the NHL wouldn't last much longer. The 16-17 NHL season saw Klein's point production take a step back compared to his past few seasons in Broadway, as the former second-round pick only managed 3 goals and 11 assists for 14 points in a season limited to just 60 games for Klein due to suffering from back spasms. These complications with his back would keep Klein out of the lineup for most of New York's playoff run. He did manage to score a single assist in a single playoff game though, as the team clinched a postseason berth for the 7th straight year, but the Rangers were bested in the second round by the Ottawa Senators. After struggling to stay healthy late in the season as a result of his continued back problems, on July 7th, 2017, the 32-year-old Klein decided to announce his retirement from the NHL, forfeiting nearly $3 million in salary from the final year of his 5-year contract he originally signed back with Nashville in 2012. After spending parts of 12 seasons in the best league in the world, Klein knew that his body could no longer sustain the decent point production and his reliability in the defensive zone that he had become known for over the last decade. So he decided that he would leave on his terms and call it a day when he was ready, instead of limping through the last year of his contract. Klein wasn't done playing hockey though, as on July 14th, 2017, only a week after his retirement from the NHL, he signed a 1-year contract with the Zurich Lions of the Swiss National League. Just like that, Klein was returning to Europe for the second time to play out the final few years of his career. The 17-18 season saw Klein suit up for the Zurich Lions for the first time and have a productive year for the team, as the newly appointed alternate captain scored 10 goals and 12 assists for 22 points in 45 games. This production helped Zurich make the Swiss National League playoffs, where Klein was even more productive with 12 points in 17 games, as the Lions beat HC Lugano in 7 games in the finals to clinch the 2018 National League Playoff Championship. After helping lead his new team to victory, Klein also earned some individual silverware too, as he was named the National League Playoff MVP. Only a year after leaving the NHL, Klein had just won his first trophies since his junior days in the OHL. Having clinched the playoff championship, and having been a productive player in his first year in Switzerland, Klein decided that he wanted to spend another year with the Lions. So, on May 23, 2018, he signed a 1-year contract extension with Zurich to remain with the team. The 18-19 season saw Klein continue to be a key member of Zurich's roster, as the recently appointed captain of the Lions put up 10 goals and 14 assists for 24 points in 47 games during his sophomore season in the Swiss League. Unfortunately though, this production couldn't help Zurich reach the 2019 National League playoffs, as the Lions missed out on the postseason for the first time in 14 years with a 9th place finish in the league. The worst part is that they missed out on a playoff berth by a single point. Ooh, so close yet so far. After completing his 15th pro season, and after a disappointing second year with the Lions, on March 25th, 2019, the 34-year-old Klein announced that he was retiring from playing professional hockey. To this day, Kevin Klein has retired from playing professional hockey. Since he only made his announcement a few weeks ago, Klein hasn't had a great deal of time to decide what he wants to do or where he wants to go with the next chapter of his life. My research has shown little to no evidence of Klein having made a decision, at least publicly anyway, so the sky really is the limit. Maybe he takes up a coaching job in Europe, maybe he finds employment in a North American league, perhaps he takes some time away from the sport, or perhaps he leaves the sport behind for good. We won't truly know the answer to this question until we hear it uttered from Klein himself. I must admit, I was always a big fan of Klein during his time with the Rangers, as I saw him as a player who didn't constantly need the spotlight on him to thrive. He was one of those players that quietly did his job, and did it very well, behind the scenes, and was focused more on the team winning games and having success as a whole, rather than padding his stats or posting career-high numbers each year to make himself look better than everyone else. I'm also very happy to see he won a championship in his twilight years, and I personally hope that Klein enjoys his newfound spare time away from the rink. But regardless of what he decides to do next, Kevin Klein had a pretty good run in the best league in the world. In 627 NHL regular season games, Klein scored 38 goals and 116 assists for 154 points, as well as scoring 19 points in 73 NHL playoff games. Add to that a Swiss League playoff championship and a Swiss League playoff MVP trophy, and Kevin Klein certainly could have done a lot worse in his 15-year pro career, that's for sure. And there you go. That's what happened to Kevin Klein. What do you think about Klein's career? Was it good, bad, or do you think he should still be playing in the league today? Also, is there another player that you would like me to make a video on as part of this series? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys think. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. A big thank you to Andy, Chris Gadsby, Dave, David, Kalesbro, Martin Tolness, Matt DeWild, Max Artis, and Nat Marlowe, as well as a huge thank you to Cam Montgomery and Ryan Todd for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.